So Larry here, Lyme Warrior too, Lyme Warrior bracelet. So I'm going to tell you what you should expect from doing this because it can be really bad die-off. So the first time I did this, I did my head. I coiled my head for an hour on 4 frequencies. And I'm not going to say this gets you well because I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying it cures anything. So I'm going to say what I went through, and I had massive die-off for that first hour. And days later, I was going to like, basically I came from a wheelchair with MS symptoms from the beginning here. And it was horrific. And the die-off I had for the first time was horrific. But I did my head, so it cleared my head. After about a week, I got pretty clear.
Another name for die-off is Herxheimer reaction. The Herxheimer response is a natural process triggered by a greater prevalence of endotoxins. These harmful substances are released when harmful microorganisms and bacteria are destroyed and die off. As damaging bacteria are destroyed, they release previously contained endotoxins into the bloodstream. This allows the toxins to be transported to the appropriate system and subsequently expelled from the body. However, rapid destruction of bacteria can cause an influx of endotoxins, resulting in greater toxicity. When this occurs, the immune system responds by triggering an acute immune response, resulting in inflammation that may be experienced throughout the body. This can cause worsening of current symptoms and development of new symptoms. It is common for those with chronic conditions such as Lyme disease, fibromyalgia, and other forms of infection to experience a worsening of symptoms immediately after starting treatment. Many patients are concerned by this sudden change. However, this increase of symptom intensity may actually be an indicator that the treatment is working correctly. Be aware, common symptoms that develop or worsen due to a Herxheimer response include bloating, brain fog, chills, cold sweat, constipation, cramps, diarrhea, fatigue, fever, headaches, irritability, joint pain, lethargy, muscle pain, nausea, skin irritation, and sore throat. A Herxheimer reaction can last for a week or upwards of multiple months. The duration of the reaction is dependent on individual patient factors. Perhaps the greatest determinant of reaction length is what condition is being treated and its status. For example, Lyme disease is likely to cause longer Herxheimer reaction. Other factors include the body's ability to transport toxins and other debris and the patient's overall health. Therefore, each patient experiences Herxheimer reactions at different levels of severity and varying duration.
When I got Lyme, there's nothing but brain fog and drooling sometimes, wheelchair sometimes, collapsing in the store sometimes. You named every Lyme condition, the massive pain, edema, neuropathy, brain fog, everything you could think of. Can't see very well, blurry vision, can't hear very well, all of the above that you get. Thyroid issues, I had parathyroid removed even. So, let me tell you how I started out. I took equivalent Doug coil and I made this from scratch. And by the way, I did invent the Ampcoil. So what I did my head again for an hour, 15 minutes on 4 frequencies. Those were 306, 612, 432, and double the 432 was 864. All those 4 frequencies. And that was just the start. So it took me 6 months, maybe a year to keep doing this, and it slowly got more and more functional. The neurological symptoms went away. It's a long haul. If you've had Lyme for 10 years or 20 years, think of it, it's going to take about probably at least half that time to get better from doing this because you have to regenerate and rebuild everything in your body. And it's not a petrochemical that's going to help you regenerate at the cellular level because that depletes nutrition. You need the nutrition to go through the cell wall, and that's what the earth fields does. This is an artificial earth field. It makes the nutritional ions that are bioavailable go through the cell wall. And we have a product, and we don't sell it, it's just, we don't make any money off it, it's just, we use the longevity, Joel Wallach longevity. He's an animal doctor for his whole life, worked on 20,000 animals worldwide, and formulated a really great product for zoonotic pathogens. The combination between the longevity starting out and the artificial earth field makes those ions go through the cell wall. It's not like giant pulse, it's just like a nice even earth field. That's what we have. We have an earth field, artificial earth field. So anyway, so as I went on, progressed with getting well from Lyme, I did this, and then I did this probably for 6 months. The first 6 months, it was still hard. It was a long haul. And then about a year after that, or within that year, I got highly functional. I'm so functional now with regenerating everything and doing everything. I'm going skiing this winter. All my joint issues are gone. They've been rebuilt, and it's regenerative medicine. So I'll be skiing in Schweitzer here probably next week, and I hope they got a lot of new snow, so I'm going. So Lyme symptoms pretty much mostly gone. I do have occasional neurological or I feel like I'm going to fall over. Like, okay, so last night, I'll tell you one of the recent ones. Last night, I have a plasmid sweep. It's a Lyme plasmid. They're like the hatchlings of Lyme. So I ran that, and I ran it all night. I just put it on my pillow and stuck it on my head, and I'm not neurological today. I don't have any balancing problems, no issues with that. I feel really good today. Lots of energy. And sometimes my feet, I run it on my feet. And I run circulation. I run plasmid sweep. I have an osteo sweep program. It's really good for soft tissue and bones. And by the way, it was approved 40 years ago, FDA approved 40 years ago for bone fracture. Anybody can look this up. You have to have the right nutrition to make all of this work. It's the earth field. The earth field is collapsing. And we have data now that shows studies 2,500 years ago that show the earth field was actually 2.5 times stronger. And now it just collapsed 10% since 2001. The previous 10% before that was 1840-ish. And so if you go project forward with that data, those data points, you could say we have about 5 years, it'll be another 10%, and so on and so on. If it goes down, it's just the shields go down. Doesn't mean it's going to be dangerous for anybody. No disaster is going to happen. It's just the shields are down. But if we get an EMP from the sun while the shields are down, that is dangerous. The whole earth could be scorched. So all I'm saying is the earth field is what is healing. NASA proved it. They said life would not exist without a strong earth field. Expect a long journey with PEMF because you've had some of you have had decades of building a pathogen load. It's going to take a while. And your cells are damaged. They don't absorb the nutrition. If you want to absorb that nutrition, you use the earth field, and that makes it go through the cell wall. That's the future of medicine, is making nutrition. You don't need a petrochemical. Petrochemicals deplete the nutrition. You need the actual nutritional ions, then you need 90 of them. And it's been proven.